shit. Those some fucking delts. Shit looks edited. Alright, what's good, y'all? So today I'm gonna be talking about why do bodybuilders have bigger muscles than strength athletes? Like, shouldn't strength athletes need more contractile tissue? Doesn't make fucking sense, does it? So the reason is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and I don't know why this is not more commonly talked about. Like, it's a big thing. I don't know why these science nerds don't fucking cover it, but I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna do their fucking job. But first, let's understand, how do we grow muscles? There's two ways of growing muscles. First is myofibular hypertrophy, and the other is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. The first one is called through mechanical tension, and the other metabolic stress. So here we have a diagram of a muscle fiber, and you see those glizzy looking things? Those are the myofibrils. Those are the part of the muscles that actually contract and make the muscles move. And the shit they're encased around is the sarcoplasm, which is the liquid part of the cell, which contains glycogen and water. So what is myofibular hypertrophy? Myofibular hypertrophy is a type of muscle growth which is defined by an increase in the size and density of the myofibrils, which are the contractile parts, the glizzy looking things of the muscle. So how do we trigger this? Mechanical tension. And how we can achieve this is by lifting heavy weights with lower reps, around 1 to 12, but it maximizes around 8. And sure, you can induce myofibular hypertrophy at whatever rep range, but it maximizes around 8 because otherwise you're going to be inducing more metabolic stress than mechanical tension. And you can increase the amount of microtears in the muscles by doing shit like deep stretches, like dumbbell flies, or increasing the time under tension. Now, what is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is a type of muscle growth characterized by an increase of the volume of the sarcoplasm, which, like I said before, is the fluid part of the cell which contains glycogen and water. So this leads to a larger, more voluminous muscle, but does not increase the strength. So how do we trigger sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Metabolic stress. And to achieve this, we lift lighter weights with higher reps, around 16 to 20, or even more. And this induces metabolic stress due to the accumulation of metabolites, which hence cause the burning sensation. Now you can also trigger it by doing short rest periods around 30 to 90 seconds, which retains the metabolic byproducts, like lactic acid and phosphate, which enhances the pump effect due to the ion accumulation, which draws in water. But in essence, whatever stresses the mitochondria, and hence causes the burning sensation. So higher reps with short rest times. And now with that information baked into our heads, let's analyze the training styles of bodybuilders and strength athletes. So bodybuilders, they tend to do higher rep ranges, are 18 to 16. Which, yes, predominantly induces mechanical tension, but also induces a bit of metabolic stress. Unlike strength athletes, which do lower rep ranges, usually less than 9, which only induces mechanical tension. Now, bodybuilders also have lower rest times, which means metabolites don't have time to flush out, which hence causes metabolic stress. Unlike strength athletes, which fucking take naps in between their sets. Now, what are the other benefits of isolating metabolic stress over mechanical tension? First, it's much less taxing on the body. Even in the same RPE, performing higher reps at lighter weights has the fatigue induced and a more acute toll in the CNS, which means not only you're going to be recovering faster, but you're going to be avoiding a burnt CNS. Next is the increased fluid in the muscles. Due to the ion accumulation from metabolic stress, you're going to have increased fluids in the muscle during and post-training, which means you're going to have more inflammation, which means you're going to have more nutrient delivery to your muscles, and hence faster recovery and increased protein synthesis. And you're going to have an increased pump next session, which no matter if you do a mechanical stress or metabolic stress, you're going to have an increased pump due to the increased inflammation, which, yeah, you're also going to be feeling more sore in the muscles, but if you're not a pussy and you work through it, you're going to have a greater pump. And finally is the increased glycogen storage and water retention. So not only your muscles are going to look bigger because you're going to have more water and carbs in them, but in a healthy body, glycogen is stored as fat once the liver and muscle storages are full. So if you have bigger muscle storages, you're going to be able to eat more carbs without packing it as fat. Okay, great. So now how do I isolate metabolic stress into my program? So personally, what I do is 1 out of 3 days of lifting is dedicated to metabolic stress. So on the first day, I would go heavy, which triggers myofibular hypertrophy. On the second day, I would do a stretch day, which also triggers myofibular hypertrophy. And on the third day, I would isolate sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So basically, you want to do is a min-max day. So you either want to do completely myofibular hypertrophy or you want to do completely sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And you want to do exercises where the tension is greatest at contraction. So for example, leg extensions, spider curls, cable flies, lateral raises. This reduces muscle damage, the microtears, and increases the pump. And you want to do 4 or 5 sets of 18 to 22 reps with 30 seconds of rest in between, and all RPE 9. And in order to achieve the RPE 9 and those higher rep ranges, you want to decrease the weight. So for example, in spider curls, I decrease the weight 4 kilos each set. And this one's more of a tip, but rest 5 minutes in between exercises. That way it gives you a chance to flush out the metabolites on the muscle you just worked, and it gives you a chance to catch your breath. Now, how do I know if I'm correctly isolating mechanical or metabolic stress? Neurological efficiency versus the burn. Let's say you're doing shorter rep ranges, let's say around 8. When you get close to failure or to failure, you shouldn't really be feeling a burn, rather just the weight going up slower. Unlike the burn, which let's say I'm doing higher rep ranges, I'm going to be feeling a crazier burn, which is going to be the indication of going to failure and that I'm correctly inducing metabolic stress. And finally, it's not necessary to isolate mechanical tension and metabolic stress, but it will lead to increased gains down the road. So try it yourself. Have a day where you dedicate it only to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and metabolic stress, and tell me how you feel. And just the question, why do bodybuilders have bigger muscles than strength athletes? Well, because bodybuilders induce much more sarcoplasmic hypertrophy than strength athletes. Thank you for watching.